The night air at Tan Son Hut was thick with the weight of loss. The sentry dog teams, their handlers somber and silent, climbed into the army truck, each lost in their own thoughts of the fallen 3 dogs and 3 brave airmen who had given everything. The names of their brothers in arms echoed in the quiet, the weight of the battlefield still fresh in their minds. The loss was sharp, raw, but the mission continued. The war didn't stop for grief. Among them was Airman Robert Bob Thronberg, just 22, his heart heavy with the ache of the previous night's attack. His German shepherd, Nemo, stood at his side, a loyal companion who had already proven himself worthy of a hero's title. They'd been through so much together already, a bond forged in the hellfire of war. That night, as they patrolled near a Vietnamese graveyard, everything seemed eerily still until Nemo, ever alert, caught a scent, his body tensing in the way only a trained sentry dog knew how. A moment later, before Bob could even call for backup, gunfire erupted from the darkness. The enemy, hidden in the shadows, had ambushed them. Bob's heart pounded in his chest as he released Nemo into the fray. The dog was fearless, charging at the unseen threat with a ferocity that only a soldier's heart could understand. But it wasn't enough. A bullet found its mark, entering Nemo's right eye and exiting through his mouth. The dog staggered, but he didn't fall. Bob was hit next, shot in the shoulder, sent crashing to the ground, the world spinning around him. His life seemed to slip away with every breath, but his focus never wavered. Nemo, despite the brutal wound, refused to surrender. His spirit, indomitable, surged as he threw himself into the fray, attacking the enemy and buying Bob the precious moments he needed to call for reinforcements. The quick reaction team arrived, but by then, it was too late. The damage had been done. 4 more Viet Cong were dead, and yet, Nemo's fight wasn't over. Even in his agony, the brave dog crawled back to Bob, dragging his mutilated body to his handler's side. Nemo pressed himself against Bob, a silent protector, unwilling to let anyone touch his fallen comrade. Bob could feel the warmth of Nemo's body, the rise and fall of his breath, a final testament to their bond. Even as the medics arrived, Nemo would not leave him. The two were separated, taken back to base with Bob for medical attention, Nemo for life-saving surgery. Bob's body healed, but the pain of that night, the loss of his comrades, and the price they paid, would never fully fade. Nemo, too, survived, but at what cost? Blinded in one eye, his once majestic face now scarred by the wounds of war, Nemo was retired, the first sentry dog to be given that honor. In the months that followed, Bob and Nemo were reunited, but it was bittersweet. The bond they shared was more than just a military one, it was the bond of survival, of loyalty that transcended pain. But as Nemo was flown halfway across the world, from the jungles of Vietnam to the streets of Texas, there was an undeniable sense of finality. It was as if the world itself understood the sacrifice these two had made together. On July 22, 1967, when Nemo finally touched down at Kelly Air Force Base, the world took a collective breath. Here was a dog who had fought alongside soldiers, who had saved his handler's life at the cost of his own health, and who would forever be remembered as a hero. At Lackland Air Force Base, his retirement was celebrated, but it was also a quiet, solemn moment, a dog who had given everything for his country and his handler, now left to spend his final years in peace. Nemo lived out his days at the Department of Defense Dog Center, a living testament to the bond between a soldier and his dog. But time, as it always does, moved forward. And in December 1972, the hero who had once fought so fiercely for the man he loved passed away quietly in his sleep, just days before Christmas. He was buried with the kind of honor that only a war hero deserves, his name forever etched in the history of Vietnam. Bob Thronberg, too, carried on with his life, quiet, unassuming, the weight of that night forever etched in his soul. He would go on to earn 2 Purple Hearts, a Bronze Star, and the Warrior's Medal of Valor, but none of those medals could fill the hole left by the dog who had saved his life. The years passed. Bob went home, earned his degree, and worked quietly in North Carolina. But every day, he carried with him the memories of that night, of the fierce loyalty of a dog who refused to let him die, of the sacrifices made in the name of duty, and of the bond they shared, a bond that death itself could not break. In the end, Bob died at 75, but before he left this world, his final act was a testament to the love and loyalty between him and Nemo. On November 15, 2005, a memorial was erected for Nemo, the first sentry dog of the Vietnam War to be honored with such recognition. It was as if the world had finally caught up to what Bob had always known, that Nemo was more than just a dog. He was family. And so, long after Bob passed, Nemo's memory lives on, not just in stone, but in the hearts of all who knew the truth of what it meant to serve. To love. To fight. To give everything for the one who will always have your back.